Welcome, everyone. Oh, it's late out. It's a late night. Just finished watching the Chicago Sky versus the Mercury. What a game. What a game. So, first quarter, Chicago goes out to a lead. Phoenix is turning the ball over. They're missing passes. Second quarter, the opposite happens. Chicago's throwing the ball away. Cardoso's missing easy shots. Reese is missing shots. And then all of a sudden, there was one play. Oh, and happy birthday to Kahleah Copper. She ended up being the leading scorer for Phoenix, 28 points. Nice game on your birthday. So the other thing that happened was Alyssa Thomas has now set the record for assists in a season. That happened in this game too. So it was just Phoenix was backdooring Chicago like all the time. And they didn't make any adjustment there. It was happening all game. All game. And then in the second half, Kia Nurse she was hitting everything she threw up. I think she hit 6 or 7 threes. She kept them in the game. And then Rachel Banham hit one. She hit maybe more than one. Anyway, but the backdoor cutting by Phoenix was just killing Chicago. But they stayed right in it because of the threes that were going up. And then finally Cardoso and Reese started having a softer touch off the backboard, because in the first half they were just going up too strong. It was banging off the backboard, and they weren't getting second chance points. And then so they started to catch back up, and then in the fourth quarter they actually caught them because they had a lead to begin with, and then Phoenix came back, and then they had the lead for most of the game. And then Chicago, I think it was a 3 by Nurse that actually put them tied, or I think that they went ahead, but I think her foot was on the line, so it might have only been a 2, and they adjusted it back to just even. But Chicago had caught right back up, but there were so many plays that it was like Phoenix would miss, and then Natasha Mack was big for Phoenix. She was blocking shots, and she was getting, second chance rebounds for Phoenix, because especially down the stretch in the end there, if Chicago had just gotten a rebound, like the last three or 4 sequences, they could have pulled this out. And then, right at the end, there's a scrum for the ball, and everybody's going for it, and somehow Alyssa Thomas ends up with it. She shoots it at, scoots it out to somebody. It was like, in the end, all the loose balls were going Phoenix's way. All the rebounds were going Phoenix's way. But, boy, Chicago gave them a battle. Well, and then there was this other play where it was like 2 outfielders going for a ball, like in say left center, and the center fielder and left fielder, and they both look at each other like, oh, you're going to get it. And there was a ball. The ball was kind of heading towards half court, and I think it was Nurse and Uzin. They both kind of look at each other like the other person was going to get it. And Sammy Whitcomb goes right up the middle and just takes it all the way in for a layup. You don't see that too often, but just good game. I mean, good game by both teams. I've never seen, Phoenix, Sabally and Alyssa Thomas have knocked more people over without getting fouls called on them than I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they both have strong bodies and stuff, but they knock a lot of people over. I've seen all these games, and it's amazing how many people get knocked over by them. And then somehow it's not an offensive foul, which It is what it is. There's, I don't know. I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, Phoenix ekes out the win, 83-79. The thing that killed Chicago was that second quarter. They were up 22-17 in the first, and then they got outscored 20-8 in the second quarter. They were just throwing the ball away, and then that's when that, baseball kind of play where Uzun and Nurse looked at each other and ended up, one of them should have gotten the ball, and neither of them get it, and they give up a layup. But, even after doing all that, they ended up outscoring Phoenix in the second half of the game. But it wasn't, just one of those rebounds in the end or just a loose ball that if it had gone their way, they could have come out of this with a win. Very exciting down the stretch. But, that's what usually happens to teams that are 9-29. Because Chicago's been in a lot of close games. A lot of close games. So the second half, third quarter, 25. They outscored Phoenix 25-24, and then the fourth they outscored them 24-22. There were 18 blocks in this game. Phoenix had 11 blocks. Mack had 5. Sabally had 2. Alyssa Thomas had 1. Copper had 1. Westfield had 1. Whitcomb had 1. It was just blocks galore. Chicago out-rebounded them 38-34, so it was close. Angel Reese had 20 rebounds. She was under the boards a lot, and she was guarding Alyssa Thomas, and there was definitely a battle going on there. But Chicago shot 50% from 3, and a lot of that was Kahleah Nurse. She was 5 for 7. So she hit 5 threes. I thought she had 6, but I know why, because that other one was a 2. Because they had adjusted that. It was down to a 2. So she was their leading scorer with 17 points. She shot 6 for 8 overall, 5 for 7 from 3, which great game. And then Banham was 3 for 5. Atkins hit 1. They were 10 for 20 from 3-point land. They were 44% from the floor. So you had Kahleah Nurse leading scorer, and then you had Cardoso and Reese with 15 points apiece. Reese had those 20 rebounds. Cardoso had 7. They both had 2 blocks each. Reese had 4 turnovers. Cardoso had 2. They both had 4 assists. And they both shot about the same percentage. Reese went to the line more. She was 5 for 7 from the line. She was driving on Thomas because they were guarding each other. She was 5 for 11 from the floor. Cardoso was 7 for 15. And then you had Oni Mwene had 6 points. She had 3 turnovers, 2 assists, and a rebound. Atkins had 9 points. She was 4 for 11. They needed a little more out of her. Rachel Banham had 13 points. She had a block, a steal, 4 turnovers, 1 assist, and 3 rebounds. She was 4 for 6. Overall, 3 for 5 from 3. Rebecca Allen didn't play much. She only got a block. That's the only thing on her stats. And then Elizabeth Williams only took 3 shots. She had 2 points. She was 2 for 2 at the foul line. And then Uzun, she was 1 for 5, 0 for 2 from 3. She had 2 points. So that's it for Chicago. Chicago had 21 turnovers. Phoenix ended up getting 20 points off those turnovers. Phoenix had 9 turnovers. I think all of them were in the first half. They had a lot in the first half. It was bad. But they cleaned it up. So Chicago only got 11 points off those turnovers. Points in the paint. Phoenix got 46-28. That's a lot. Chicago usually has a lot. of points in the paint when you have Reese and Cardoso. But Phoenix was, those backdoor cuts, they were getting layups. Time after time, it was like, boop, there it goes again. They didn't have any help defense to cut that off. Phoenix, 28 points for Kahleah Copper. She was 9 for 16, 4 for 7 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the line. And then you had Natasha Mack had a double-double. I think they said this was her first career double-double. She had 10 points, 5 blocks, 2 steals, 3 assists, 12 rebounds, and she was 5 for 9. Like down the stretch, she kept getting those loose rebounds. Phoenix would miss, and then she would get those rebounds. She was all over the place. Alyssa Thomas, 15 points. She had 6 assists and 9 rebounds. She was 7 for 8 from the line, 4 for 6 overall. Sabally, once again, did not shoot very well. She was 3 for 13, 1 for 4 from 3. She had 9 points. She had 2 blocks, a steal, 3 turnovers, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Akoa Makani had 6 points. Westfield had 2. Sammy Whitcomb had 5. She was 2 for 8 overall, 1 for 6 from 3. She was hot the last game, but not so much this game. Dewana Bonner had 8 points. She had 5 steals, 1 turnover, and 2 rebounds. She was 4 for 4 from the line, 2 for 8 overall. So, Chicago actually outshot Phoenix. Phoenix was only 40% and then 27% from 3. But they went to the line more. They went to the line 22 times when Chicago only went 14 times. So, anyway, the playoffs have already started, basically. You have teams fighting for their lives. And, Phoenix really needed this game. If they had dropped, then they'd drop even with New York. And they didn't want that to happen. So they eked out this one. And, the next 2 weeks are going to be just so exciting. A lot of these teams in these playoff hunts are playing each other. And we'll see who survives. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.